one.
Hi everyone, Sherry Chris here, CEO of Realogy Expansion Brands. And I'm super excited today because, well, we've got an all-star panel to talk about Pride Month, to talk about real estate, to talk about how everybody is doing. And I'm going to say without further ado, let's just get right into it. So first thing I want to do is say thank you, Jeff. You're 2 blocks below me, or 1 below me. In the family Zoom. It's like we're having a family Zoom meeting here. So Jeff, we'll start with you. How are you?
I am great. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, really feeling well. I'm excited for Pride Month. I'm excited to be amongst friends, to be on this panel. And it feels just great to be immersed in the industry that I love and can be part of every day. It's very special to me.
Thank you. So Herman Chen, introduce yourself. We've known each other for many years.
Yes.
How are you?
Jerry, I'm just trying to survive the best I can, honestly.
I know. It's hard, darling, isn't it? So
I'm a survivor, so I'm going to push through it just like everybody else is. So, but yeah, for those who don't know, my name is Herman Chen, Golden Gate Sotheby's, San Francisco Bay Area, born and raised, and been hawking homes for about 20 years. So we'll see if we can make it another 20.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. So Mike, over to you. How are you doing? And tell the audience who you are.
Okay, so I'm Mike Zinicola. I'm from Keller Williams. I run the Easy Referral Network, which is a large expansion team in the organization. I've been doing great. My team hasn't missed a lick. We set a record last month for GCI production. It's been going very well. One of the things that also has been great is I've spent a lot of time on the KW Rainbow Network, meeting and talking with people and trying to get people to keep the proper positive mindset to get through everything that we've needed to get through. Yeah, so things are going well, and I'm excited to be here and share more.
Thank you, thank you. Benjamin, how are you, my friend?
I am well. How are you? I'm in beautiful Palm Springs, where I believe it's going to be 100-something today again. We're having a little mini heat wave, and if this is anything that's going to happen this summer, we're in for a hot one for sure. But I'm doing great. The company's doing great. My husband's doing great. My dogs are doing well. Life is good.
Good.
In lieu of a pandemic worldwide and rioting, and I guess we're going to have a meteor coming next or something like that.
There's always something coming next.
There's always something.
Don't know what it is. Julie, how are you?
Hi, good. Good. Julie Nelson with eXp Realty in sunny Austin, Texas. Doing well. I've always worked from home, so and as a lot of realtors have, so that hasn't been a big adjustment. And I live on 3 acres, a little mini farm in Austin, so I'm kind of happy here in my little bubble. But business has picked up, and Austin's rocking and rolling. Our economy is solid here, so we really have that going for us. We're probably one of the healthiest economies in the country going into this. Into the COVID scene. So that's part of what's going on in Austin. So all good. We're doing all right.
I think a lot of people are going to be moving to Texas in the short, medium, and long term. So
I think so.
Get ready, right?
Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about Pride Month, and with everything that has happened, obviously it's been a very challenging start to 2020 as a year, both personally, professionally, and most recently emotionally as well. And I have to say, when I woke up on Monday and it was June 1st and it was the start of Pride Month, it just made my heart happy because we're celebrating all of the good things that have to do with the LGBTQ community and celebrating Pride. And so with that, though, it's going to be different this year. And we're celebrating primarily from afar. I've been to parades in several cities around the world, and it's so exciting to take part in that, but there are no parades this year. So Herman, I've been to the San Francisco Pride Parade a couple of times. How are we going to celebrate this year?
We are going to celebrate online and also with each other through social media and through social distancing, and just honestly just being yourself. I mean, just because you can't meet in person doesn't mean you're going to be any less prideful. That's no excuse not to be yourself. So when I'm out there doing my business and I'm out there doing my thing, I mean, I'm just, you know me, Sherry, I open my mouth and a purse falls out. So that's not going to stop.
What kind of purse? That's what's important. A Birkin or Chanel purse? What kind?
What's your brand, Herman? What's your brand?
I'm showing a house, so.
Right.
I know that Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate in Palm Springs favors Chanel and Louis, I think, right, Benjamin?
And don't forget Gucci. Gucci is my best friend.
I haven't bought anything in a long time, a long time being since March. So are we all feeling the need not to spend money right now? Yes.
Oh yeah, everything calmed down in the expense department. Didn't we all maybe get out our credit cards, statements and our bank statements and really took a hard look at them and say, I'm going to clean house here a little bit? I think agents at all levels did that with their businesses. So
Right.
I agree. I actually, for the first time ever, had positive balances on my credit card from, like trip deposits and things like that. And, right?
I got a $4,000 check back, but sadly it was because my 4-leg trip through France got canceled.
I know, it's the same with me, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of travel. I really don't think I'll be doing much travel at all this year. But, that kind of leads me into what I'd like to talk about, and that is that, we don't have a lot of time for ourselves now. And so I think we're all throwing, 100% of our time into business. At least that's how it feels for me. So, how can we make a difference during this time with the LGBT community? And, Mike, I'll go to you and ask you, what are your thoughts around that? How can we really make a difference?
Right, so I'll tell you something general and something personal.
Okay.
So in general, what I've found is this has been an amazing time to become better at your craft. And so I was really in the forefront of doing a lot of teaching in the beginning. I was on Zoom calls constantly talking about various aspects of real estate, because in my opinion, in the LGBT agent community, what if all of us during this time decided to say, you know what, I'm going to take this time and become a better agent? What does that do for all of us? I always think that the best lead gen is to be an awesome agent. And so I've spent a lot of time training and I've been on a lot of calls with KW Rainbow Network and just trying to do a lot of things to help improve our agents. Because if our agents become better, our clients get better representation. And we can do something about the fact that the general population home ownership is 64%, but in our community it's 49%.
Oh, so there is, some potential upside. Julie, how would you answer that question, in this time? How can we bring, gay rights more, front and center, particularly during Pride Month?
Yeah, one thing, I've been paying really close attention to what HRC has been doing. So, tapping into our various organizations, we'll have our local organizations, our national organizations, NAGLREP, HRC. I really like some of the stuff HRC is doing. So like I've been tapping into a bunch of HRC Zoom calls, which really, particularly on a local level, they've brought some national folks in, but that helps me connect with my sphere too. So who is my client sphere in Austin? Well, it's that group. So that's been, it's been good to have that outlet and to have that conversation, to really see, some of the conversations that HRC is driving. They overlap particularly with NAGLREP, with our, with our advocacy and, housing policy and the Equality Act. So those are some of the things I've been doing. I'll kind of double up on what Mike said. I've been doing a lot of kind of the training and coaching and speaking as well. So it is a good time to really like lean into your agents, and besides just seeing how they're doing, but really take the opportunity to help agents really dial into their business. And not, I kept telling agents, I'm like, hey, let's look forward like 90 days from now or 60 days from now, when we had this shelter in place and our lives kind of quieted down. Let's make sure that in the rear view mirror, you look back and say, I made good use of that time, personally and professionally.
You know, I really like what you say, Julie, and I agree with you, is that, you know, we don't want to waste this time where we are sheltering in place. And I've also done some, you know, completed some personal projects that I never would have had the time to work on. And so I think as we leave this and come out of it with a sense of accomplishment, both personally and professionally, you know, it puts, I'm not going to say a positive spin on it, because who would have ever dreamt that this, that COVID-19 would have, you know, taken over the entire world. But there's always a silver lining. So I agree. And so Benjamin, you know, how would you answer that question? I mean, you've got a great company in Palm Springs. How are you trying to make a difference?
Well, I'm in a unique situation. As Herman lives in San Francisco, I was born and raised in San Francisco. I'm a native San Franciscan, class of '81, Indians, Lowell, what's up? Anyway, and you know, I relocated with my husband to Palm Springs. So we've been here for 15 years. And Palm Springs is kind of, well, I mean, 75 to 80% of my 80 agents are gay. It's primarily, you know, maybe a 60-40 gay versus straight. It is completely all-inclusive, and we're kind of living in a bubble here. So we have 3 large groups. The center, LGBTQ, that I am an Ocotillo member and a huge contributor, and that is extremely involved with our community. We have the AIDS Assistance Program, huge contributor involved with that, and the DAP, Desert AIDS Project. So, you know, 24/7, we're talking pride and happy, and, you know, we really don't have that. Again, we get on the other side of the mountain, and then we see some of the ugliness that can come out, you know, with name calling and bashing, and whether you're black, white, gay, straight, 1 eye, 2 eyes, 5 eyes, Hermes Birkins flying out of your mouth like Herman. You know, so what we do is we have an incredible base here, and what we do is I make sure I mean, my agents and my managers are trained. Like every Friday, we've got training generally before, you know, pre-COVID, and we are completely into learning the different systems. I brought a greenhouse manager on, you know, right before this. We had a huge meeting where we brought the Southern California, Hemet, and the Temecula brokerages of BHG out here. We did some training that Amy set up, and, you know, again, as Mike said, you know, it's all about training and making us the best, because people look at us sometimes, you know, like, and so we want to be able to say, that's right, bitches, we are fabulous, and we sell houses. So,
you know, it's an interesting comment that you make, because it is, and I'm guessing maybe you'd all agree with me, is that, you know, we have to try harder and
yes,
to prove ourselves. And, you know, that's something that you wake up with every day. And Herman, I'm going to go to you as, you know, like you really are a spokesperson and a face for the LGBT community, not just within real estate, but, you know, it's more far reaching. And, you know, we talked the other day about the fact that we're both introverts. In fact, you know, most of us probably are. Yeah, so Benjamin, you're looking like I am.
yeah, you.
Yes, you know, I like to like curl up and read a book and not have a lot of people around me sometimes. And, you know, I work hard at drawing my network in and, you know, doing my business. But Herman, you know, how do you work to do the right thing and do your great work within the community as a spokesperson?
I just feel so uncomfortable when you're calling me that. I feel like I'm just being myself, and I don't know how else to be. You know, I think that I'm in an interesting position in two ways. The first of which is Benjamin's point about being in the Bay Area. By the way, Lowell, his high school, that's for gifted children. So Benjamin, you're very smart. I get that. No, but for me, being in San Francisco, I was born and raised here. It's where we don't really have, I don't want to say discrimination, but it's like literally there. It's just baked into the culture here. So what I love about like the activism that people do in different parts of the country is different than what we do here. And so elsewhere, that's why I love NAGLREP so much, because when I talk to people on the boards and at the different conferences, like I realize that I can be very complacent here. And when I hear about the stories that people have to go through elsewhere in the country, it just like shocks me so much.
Shocking.
I have to.
Shocking, actually.
Absolutely shocking. And even like the Bay Area, even if you go 1.5 hours out east or something, I mean, it's just the same. So I'm very privileged in that way. And so, and then secondly, I mean, let's be honest, I can't pass. Okay, my God, I'm just like, you know, when I came out of my mom, I came out in a puff of glitter and, you know, came out with a sash and a tiara and a bow. So, I mean, and so I was never, all my whole life, I was always having to defend myself and just, I didn't have the privilege of passing, they call it. And so I was just always enduring the slings and arrows of people, but it made me so much stronger. And I think I still feel that's how I live my life now. And just because we're in this COVID lockdown situation, I almost feel like I almost want to do it even more, because like I don't want it to be hidden. I feel like when people are kind of locked down, you almost have to like go to your tribe, to what Julie was saying. It's like when all is good and everyone and the economy is booming and leads are coming left and right, we don't have that privilege now. And I think you have, for me at least, it's more about like going back to your base. Going back to your base, serving people who may have been in your situation earlier in their life, or because when people come here from out of state, they're so shocked. Not by me. Well, they are shocked by me, but they're just so shocked that they see people holding hands in the street. They're like, you know, thruples. I mean, it's a whole different ball game in San Francisco. And I just realized that I have to be even more vocal on my social media and just being unapologetic about who I am. I mean, I don't ever do it with an agenda, I hope. I mean, it's just me, but like, I just don't think that this is the time to actually cower down in COVID. I feel it's almost the opposite. We should be blooming. I say, you know, I entered shelter in place a caterpillar. I gotta leave a butterfly.
I like that, actually. That's a good line. Okay, you got best line of the session so far. So far, we're not finished yet. But Jeff, one of the things that I want to ask the panelists is, you know, to tell us a story about how NAGLREP actually helped them. I mean, I have my own story, but Julie, I'll start with you. Like, is there a moment where you thought, wow, I'm glad I belong to this organization, and just somebody that has touched you?
Well, it's interesting because that moment happens regularly. So it's these series of moments, and the culmination, there's kind of a formula here, but the culmination is when you get an email or a phone call and you can tell from the questioning that it's a NAGLREP lead, that person found you with a simple Google search. And it's a core part of my business. It has been for a long time. I'm working with a $1 million lesbian couple out of New York City right now. And I'm working with a first-time buyer lesbian who is a librarian at a local university. And those people all found me online. So that's the story, but it's this continuing story. It just keeps happening. It's a really core part of my business. So it's like, so you get this network, and then come the friendships, right? So here's the formula: network, friendships, referral. And it's really this beautiful formula. And then we get to kind of the frosting on the cake is that overall advocacy work that we're doing. So if you look at that whole bundle of what NAGLREP is. You talk about true colors. It's like, that's pretty colorful to me, that whole formula. And it's an important part of my business, as I think all of us in so many members. And it's interesting, even for like a new member on NAGLREP, I don't think it takes that long. It's such a network that the friendships can evolve a lot faster than I've seen evolve in other networks. It's something about our family dynamic that makes that work, I think, at a higher level than what I've seen in some other organizations. So there's
more emotion. There's more emotion, you know, to give within this group, which really, you know, to me, it seems like deeper relationships are formed than other real estate groups, as an example. So, you know, Benjamin, I would ask you the same. I mean, you're in the town that typically holds the conference. So, you know, what is NAGLREP, except I don't know about this year, Jeff. I know you haven't made a decision yet, but not sure what's going to happen, right?
A lot of my realtors belong to NAGLREP. As I am not that involved with it because I'm not primarily selling real estate, but I know that all I ever hear is NAGLREP this, NAGLREP that, NAGLREP this. Oh, I got another lead from NAGLREP. Oh, I got another lead from NAGLREP. I mean, I can think of Shan Carr, who's you know, a famous comedian. She's one of my realtors. She's a big member. Randy Weimer, my broker, his husband Michael Larson, they're big NAGLREP fans, and Melissa Lundgren, my God, I mean, all over her desk, if you walked into her cubicle, it's NAGLREP all over the place. So they love
a spokesperson.
Well, it's because they, you know, the quality of the leads, you build, this is what they love. They love building that relationship, and they covet it. It's like, it's kind of like they're drinking this Kool-Aid, but it's like a fabulous rainbow Kool-Aid. But it's because there's not a lot of BS. It's becoming a friend foremost and respecting of your you know, your contemporary, and then it's not just a way to get leads. It's a way to expand your business and make your family bigger. And you know, all I can say is my agents love it, and they just love the fact that not only do they get to make friends in other states and to get together once a year for the meeting, or they actually go and travel and meet them. But again, they get to get these quality leads that then become personal friends, and it's just like a snowball that keeps going on. So from that aspect, besides all of the political activism that NAGLREP is doing, it's a great, I mean, between HRC, I mean, there's nothing else I could think of other than NAGLREP, other than my locals, you know, so it's wonderful. So Jeff.
Great.
Good for you.
You know, that's a great shout out. Mike, you know, what would you say? Is there kind of a moment that you can recall?
If I'm being honest, I would have to tell you that when I first joined NAGLREP, it was because I was just looking at it as a business deal. I would get referrals. I would, you know, just like I get another lead source. That's what the first thing. And then this is what happened. My first referral was a doctor and his partner from Boston. And I'm in Ohio, and all you people think we're a bunch of flyover states with a bunch of hillbillies who live here. I know that's what you all think. And that's what some people think. And so the one partner was a doc, and he was coming to work at the prestigious Cleveland Clinic, and he was excited about that. But he and his partner were like, what the heck is this Cleveland, Ohio place? And when they got here and they found a real city, and I was able to show them more than what other agents would be able to show them, just because I'm in the community and I could introduce them. I remember at the end of the transaction, I got this big hug from the partner, and there were tears in his eyes because he was so afraid to move out of the East Coast. And because he found me, or a NAGLREP realtor, me in particular, but in that case, but because he found me, the whole thing was just so much smoother and less worrisome. And they didn't have to worry about what my political opinions were. They knew they were in a safe place. And I realized then that NAGLREP is so much more than just this other referral source, that it's a place where people can really come and get the comfort they need to move forward in their lives. And so to me, that's the important part of NAGLREP.
And feel safe, which is great. Herman, you know, a moment that you can think of?
I think I want to echo what Julie had mentioned about it being a family, a fast family. And I was thinking about that when she said that, why, because I'm involved in different organizations too. It is really true what she said. It's like, for some reason, the friendships here are steadfast and quick. And I just, in my mind, I thought, well, I think this group maybe historically has been disenfranchised from their families. They, you know, this is essentially an adoptive, we're used to having an adoptive family. And so it's natural for all of us to kind of come together quickly and bond with other people. And I think that really, because we have this shared experience being LGBTQ that is not really palatable, not necessarily visible. It's not necessarily something you can put your finger on, but the fact that before this, if I had an LGBT referral, I had to recommend someone in Ohio, I wouldn't know where to go. I wouldn't even know where to go. But well, now I do. So I mean, so just the fact that Jeff and NAGLREP have been able to put this together, I'm just eternally grateful, because what did we used to do before? We would have to call random people we didn't know and just try to like amalgamate some type of referral system going on. It was just terrible. But here, I mean, I really feel like I'm handing someone off to my cousin, my cousin Julie in Austin, for example. So I just feel like I'm just eternally grateful.
But, and if I could just throw in, but not only that, like you were saying, you're not just looking through a phone book. God, I just dated myself. But the fact is, you know, you're getting a quality realtor that actually cares about what they're doing and excels. And when you're handing them off, you don't have to worry about, are they going to follow up on phone calls? Are they going to email them? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? You know, are they going to bring them to a safe, you know, gay, safe neighborhood and all that kind of stuff? So it really makes a huge difference. It's like you go past all the bullshit. Sorry, right up front. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. That I think is great for people. Anyway.
Earlier we were talking about, you know, was this going to be edited after? Right. And I said, oh, well, only if somebody says the F word. So.
Don't worry, no F-bombs today.
No, so we're good. You know, for me, I will say that I'm an ally and a very strong ally of the community, always have been. And, you know, Jeff, you and I met each other, gosh, like several years ago when Realogy first got involved in NAGLREP. And that's when, you know, there were a few hundred people attending a conference, and now there's several hundred. It's grown significantly. But I admire the, you know, the whole network of people for, you know, getting out and standing up for yourselves and the community and working together in a much deeper way than any other networking community works together. And so for that, like I'm all in, always all in, and to do whatever it takes. And, you know, this year representing Realogy for Pride Month is such an honor. When I was asked to do that, this is kind of the kickoff of it. And we've got activities planned throughout the month. And, you know, it's just, it's really great to be part of this wonderful group. And, you know, Jeff, I have to give you accolades and thanks for having the vision and sticking with it. I mean, listen, nothing's easy, you know, and but what is easy is if you're a strong leader and you just keep going in good times and bad. So
thank you so much, Sherry. That means so much. You're a pioneer, a female leader in this real estate industry we're in, and you are, I think, the most powerful woman in the industry in my eyes. And I've always admired you, and I thank you for your support and confidence in me each day.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
I mean, you just made thousands of points with her.
Well, it's
true.
Absolutely. It's how I feel. It is.
Thank you very much. You know, you really made my day. And what I say is, you know, I'm just a girl from London, Ontario, Canada, that, you know, ended up going on a journey. So it's, as we all have. Final kind of topic for today, because we're getting close to the end. And I want to talk about the future and have you talk about the future. So if we could look out to the future, you know, what are the changes that you'd like to see? I guess, you know, this is a broad question, within our industry, within the community as a whole, within, recognition. I mean, it seems as though we're at a turning point now in the country and beyond, where a lot of people are listening. And I hope that listening, continues to grow. So I want to ask you, and Julie, I'll start with you. What's your crystal ball? What are your wishes for the future?
I love this question, and I spent a little time with it yesterday, and I looked at the questions and really sat down and scribbled a few notes so I could collect my thoughts. And this relates really kind of to the ally conversation too, but looking forward in kind of the crystal ball. For me, it's all equality acts. It's all equality acts, and it's voting. So, and you can't, it's like crystal ball and moving forward. I want to see that Equality Act come to fruition. And I'm actually optimistic. But it's going to take a lot of voting. But I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen dramatically. I watch Texas politics really, really closely. So I'm watching some of those dynamics. And so looking forward, I want to see some real progress with that Equality Act. And I'm thrilled, of course, with the work that NAGLREP has done with that. And and I want to play a role with even within my realtor community, within my EXP community. I want to help drive that conversation, and we're all in positions to drive that conversation in our local communities and within our brokerages, and then within the industry. So yeah, I want people to vote, and I want that Equality Act to continue to have oxygen breathed into it. So
it's a powerful statement. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Benjamin, I'll move up one to you in our family Zoom meeting.
It is, I mean, that's a question that is, what do we all want, right? World peace, no more pandemic. Equality is it. I mean, this vote coming up is more important than any, because we're either going to go backwards decades, or we're going to be able to maintain where we're at, or at least where we think we are, and move forward.
Whoops, we lost him. Benjamin, we lost you. So I'm going to move up, your screen froze. So I'm going to move up to Mike, and let's see if we've got 3 equality answers. I saw you nodding, so.
Well, while I agree with all that, I do want to answer something different.
Okay.
So as a successful realtor, I do donate my time and my money to causes that are important, and that's important for all of us to do. But I am a realtor. I run a very large team. And I know that as running a very large team, I always call this vendor fatigue. Everybody wants my business. And so I'm interested in us coming together with the power of our business to make allies want to do great things for us. So for instance, Jeff, I just thought of this on this Zoom. I'd like to know the total membership of NAGLREP and what our volume is. Because I bet it's 50 billion. I may be wrong, but let's say it's 30 billion.
There's probably a very easy way to calculate that, because I think Jeff has those numbers. So
what does that mean? So what if we took our, let's say $30 billion of business, and we reached out to our allies and we said, what can you do for us? Because that's what I do with local vendors. If you want my business, what does that mean? And how does that benefit my business? What if we found out it was 30 billion and we went and said, hey, big bank who always talks a good game, what kind of loan program can you put out for the LGBTQ community that's going to encourage home ownership? To remember the stat I pulled up earlier, 49% home ownership as opposed to 64. What if 3 banks were fighting for our business because it's $30 billion worth, and put together awesome programs that'll assist us in buying homes. And we can work on that. And then I'd want them to say, then I'd also want them to say, and you know what? And this happens to be my personal passion. You know what? There's a real problem in the United States. And you know what that is? We represent 4 to 8% of the community, but LGBTQ homeless youth represents 40% of homeless youth. So let's put a foundation together. And you want to be part of our lives? Help us with that, because that's a national disgrace. And so I'd like to talk about specific things that we all support equality. I'm not minimizing that at all, as I'm not using that in my discussion. We all are there, but what can we do as larger agents or as a big agent group and say, how can we better the community?
I like it. And so you've really expanded on, you know, the first 2 comments. So Herman, I'm going to give you the final say here as we wrap up.
Yes, excellent points about equality, rights, vendor dollars. I'm going to take a more personal daily approach or answer. I just hope my crystal ball one day that my clients, when they walk into an open house, if we ever have open houses again, they can walk in holding hands or as a couple and not already be on guard. Like, what is this realtor going to think? What are other people in this house going to think about me? I mean, people have no idea how, like, that puts you in a negative space to begin with. And then when the realtor talks to you about, oh, well, here's his and her sinks,
yeah,
stuff like that, just little microaggressions, which really, I mean, really start to add up. And I just hope one day that just overall people, and it's getting the millennials, the young people, they're all, you know, they're all woke and everything, but I just feel like whatever happens in the next couple of years, I hope we don't regress back, because we're making great progress. And I know I have hope in humanity.
I do too. I do too. And, you know, all of your comments and statements were dead on, in my opinion. And what I want to say as an ally is that it's my hope that the, you know, corporate allies out there, ourselves included, that we do more than just change the colors on our logo for the month, that we do more than put, you know, rainbow flags out in front of our companies and offices. I mean, that's a start, but 5 years from now, we can't just be doing that. We actually need to care, and we need to take a dive in and figure out what needs to be done to help in many areas, in all of the areas that you've talked about today. So we lost Benjamin. I guess that 108-degree temperature must have broken the internet or something. I don't know. I want to thank the 4 of you and Benjamin in his absence for your time today. It was a great panel. It was great chatting. Jeff, thank you for making it all happen. And
Pleasure.
we are going to have a great Pride Month. I'm very excited about concentrating on something positive. So take care all, and hopefully we'll see you at an upcoming event in person sometime soon.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
That would be fantastic. Happy Pride, everyone.
Happy
Happy
Pride.
Pride.
Happy Pride.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.